in a wheelchair.
That's why he ordered the door on the desk, the Resolute desk.
Now we see President-elect Obama and President Bush leaving the White House. President Bush talked several weeks ago, Andy, about what a stunning sight this would be when the Obama family, an African-American family, walked into the White House, and a White House whose foundation was built by slaves. Pierre L'Enfant borrowed slaves or rented slaves to build the foundation of the White House. And President Bush was very, very struck with the very evocative imagery of just watching this family start a new life in this house.
That's why this is such a great celebration. It's not only a celebration of our democracy, but it's a celebration of a change in America that runs across all racial lines. And so this is long overdue.
Let me tell you a little bit about this new souped-up vehicle that President Bush and President-elect Obama are in. It's, as I mentioned, worthy of James Bond. It's built on a truck chassis and armored like a tank with steel. Clearly, there will be great expectations, not only to watch Barack Obama be sworn into office, but for this inaugural address. For someone who is such a brilliant orator already and has proven his skills time and time again, it may be difficult for him to top some of his campaign speeches. And I guess the key is to not try to, Vernon?
No, this will top all of the campaign speeches, because this is the beginning. The campaign is one phase, but the beginning of your term as president is new. So this is more important than any speech he's ever made in his life.
We saw Governor Schwarzenegger. We saw San Francisco Mayor Gavin Newsom. Of course, a number of celebrities like Magic Johnson. You talked to Steven Spielberg earlier. Who else has shown up there so far?
We saw Denzel Washington. We saw Denzel Washington down there. A whole group of Hollywood faces with Steven Spielberg over there. Senators, Mark Warner is over here. Greg Craig, the White House counsel. By the way, if Greg Craig's going to be in the White House at 12:01, he's going to have to fly there because he's here right now. So it's going to be tough for him to get out of here and there in time. But certainly some of his staff will be there at 12:01 working. Jerry Brown is right down here. We have Senator Jim Bunning over here, a former Major League Hall of Famer. We have, everywhere you look, you see somebody who is recognizable. Movie stars, governors, senators, you name it, we've got them, Katie.
And his trip, as impressive as the VIPs are, I think all of us are struck by the sea of people, everyday people who have come from all over the country, in fact, all over the world. Just walking by, you know, you would hear, I'd say, where are you from? San Francisco. Where are you from? Cincinnati. Where
Katie,
are you from?
Katie, one of the greatest things I've seen today is people bringing babies. I mean, tiny babies in baby carriages. Now, they can't get the baby carriages in, but I talked to a couple of them. They said they want their child to be able to say, one day, I was there. So these babies, obviously too young to appreciate it now, but someday they will.
And it's very rare, I think, gentlemen, to see this many people in this good a mood. Right? I mean, oftentimes when
especially given that the economy is in the kitchen sink.
Yeah. It's the star of this show is the wide shot.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And maybe we can take that now, even as we watch the motorcade come up to the U.S. Capitol, where, as I mentioned, they'll be placed in a holding room before the oath of office is taken, right, Andy? And are the Bushes and the Obamas in that holding room together?
They will be there together, and then they'll be announced on stage with very formal way, and they march down and take their seats, and then they'll be called to the rostrum, and the Bible will be there.
And of course, they'll be welcomed by Senator Dianne Feinstein, who is chairman of the inaugural committee. And as they get out of the car, there is a very interesting roster of speakers who will be present today, and including Dr. Rick Warren, who will be delivering the invocation, who was considered quite controversial as a choice because he is against same-sex marriage and abortion, and many of Barack Obama's liberal supporters were quite upset that he had been selected to play such a prominent role in the inauguration. But you think, Vernon, this says a lot about how Barack Obama will govern, to have Rick Warren and then Joe Lowry at the end, delivering the benediction.
It's a pretty good balance. He's got the right in the beginning and the left at the end. It's not all bad.
And here we see Laura Bush and Michelle Obama coming into the U.S. Capitol. Steny Hoyer of Maryland, John Boehner. It must be pretty overwhelming for the Obamas to be in the spotlight, this white hot a spotlight. But they seem to take it all in stride, don't they? He has very relaxed temperament, and Mrs. Obama, according to her staff, is extremely calm, and that seems to emanate throughout the folks who are working for her.
I think they've both set an important example for all of the people around them, because they are comfortable with the responsibilities that they're about to meet.
You know, they better get used to it. Because never until they leave office will they be out of the spotlight. Never again will anything that any of them say be off the record, even to the closest members of their staff.
It's prime time for 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I understand that